Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Great to see all of you. I'd love to have you type into the chat where you're Zooming from. And I'm just curious if anybody is here for the first time doing a Zoom with me. I'd love to know that. And I'm going to start at 2 minutes after the hour. Um, Lori, can you drop the links in the chat just in case anyone doesn't have the supply list? I think you all should because of the way you signed up. But that's in the links as well as several other things. And then let's see. So we've got people from Canada, Indiana, Texas, the UK. Welcome, Washington, Italy, California, welcome. Pennsylvania. Thanks, Debbie, for saying welcome to first timers. Okay, Ruth is a first timer. Welcome from Maine. Okay, I'm having a hard time keeping up here. I don't want to get off schedule, but it's wonderful to have all of you. If you just popped in, you can type where you're Zooming in from and whether this is the first time you're doing a Zoom with me. Welcome, everyone. And what I do in these particular Zooms is I'm going to talk for just maybe 10 minutes about the paper year at the beginning. I'll do a little slideshow, and then we will start the project. Again, I said this already, but the materials which you should have all received are listed at a link that's in the chat. And I'm happy to see a kiddo here. Maybe there are more. So that's just from what I can see on my Zoom screen right now. Okay, so welcome, welcome. I'm going to share my screen and do a short PowerPoint, and then we'll get to making the photo cube. Here's mine. Yay. All right. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to type them into the chat. I have a technical assistant, Lori, who's will be monitoring that. And yeah, here we go. Okay. So I know I'm having a little technical issue with the slides advancing, which we just tested. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Sorry, and try again. Okay. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Helen Hiebert, and I run a papermaking studio high up in Colorado's Rocky Mountains near Vail and Beaver Creek ski resorts in a tiny hamlet called Red Cliff. I drive 20 miles up into the mountains to the studio. I live in Edwards, Colorado, and my studio is right down that road underneath the infamous Green Bridge. Oh no. Okay. I hold 2 in-person papermaking master classes each summer for those of you who might like to take a deep dive into papermaking, and an annual retreat in my studio every August. I have one spot available in each master class in case anyone here is interested, and I've just opened registration for the retreat. There are several links in the chat, and I'll send those over with the replay as well. So that's what I do in person, but we're talking about the paper year, which I do online. We're about to begin the 5th paper year, which I started in January of 2021. This slide shows this year's projects in the paper year library, which is a clickable guide into each and every project we've created over the years. You will gain access to this entire library of over 48 projects when you become a member of the paper year. My goal is to inspire members with a new technique and project every month. The paper year is broken into quarters. This slide shows the current quarter, which we're just wrapping up. And every 3 months, I design 2 projects, and I invite a guest artist to share the third project. In addition to gaining skills for working with paper, members enjoy being part of a generous, supportive, friendly paper community. In October, we created an accordion book with a removable spine. I create video and PDF instructions every month, which Paper Year members get access to in the online classroom. And then they get to create their own unique variation, choosing their own papers and adapting the structure to fit their own ideas and concepts. Members create the projects and share images of their work in an online classroom. This is a private community on a user-friendly teaching platform called Ruzuku. We don't do anything on social media. And it is so inspiring for me and participants alike to see what others are creating. We see papers we don't know about, we get ideas for variations on the projects, and we're simply inspired. We made these woven origami quilt tiles in November. As I mentioned, I have a guest artist design a project each quarter, and in November our guest was Rona Gerkowitz, who developed this clever way to fold and insert paper tiles into a woven paper base. We're exploring shadow ornaments this month. Many of you know that I adore paper and light, and this project involves cutouts that cast shadows onto a paper by creating a thin balsa wood frame to separate the 2 layers. Each quarter, we also have a surface design workshop, which is a 2-hour live online workshop. Our most recent workshop was with Andrew Hewitt, who introduced us to his method of creating paste paper. All Zoom events are recorded and posted for those who cannot attend live. All in-plan members meet on Zoom twice a month, and we often have a special guest at our monthly Zoom meeting, which will either be a guest artist or a paper supplier. Mary Hark, who runs Hark Handmade Paper, shared her work with us in our most recent session when she talked about her own paper and art, as well as her inspiring community projects in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Ghana, West Africa. We also have a 2-hour monthly open studio session on Zoom where members can carve out time to complete the monthly project, spend time getting to know each other, and share paper tips, resources, and events. There are 2 ways to join the Paper Year, which is open for registration right now. All of this is outlined on the registration page, along with a video about the Paper Year, but in brief, PDF subscribers will receive just that, a PDF with instructions for the monthly project. All-in subscribers receive the PDF, video instructions, and a couple of monthly Zoom meetings, like I've described. Right now is the only time of year that you can sign up and pay an annual fee, which includes 2 months free, or you can also sign up and pay by the month. Please note that this is a subscription, so you'll automatically be billed annually or monthly, but you can cancel at any time. And if and when you do cancel your membership, you lose access to the Paper Year Library. Registration is open today through January 6th. Here's a peek at what we'll be doing during the fourth quarter, this coming up quarter, the first quarter of 2025. Taking online classes has a lot of advantages, the main one being that I can share what I love with a broader community, and members have the flexibility to work at their own pace in their own space. Here are a few fun facts. There are just under 200 all-in plan members and about 60 PDF subscribers in the Paper Year at any given time. Most members don't participate in everything. There are no requirements, and I don't give grades. Some attend every Zoom meeting and share their work in the online classroom. Others only share their work in the online classroom and don't participate on Zoom for a variety of reasons. And some only comment in the online classroom and they don't share their work, which tells me that they're looking for inspiration, but might not feel confident enough to share what they are creating yet. My hope is that the paper year is a welcoming community for all. And I have members who tell me that they gain confidence by participating. We are a diverse group in how we come to paper. We have different lifestyles. We are crafters and working artists. Some of us juggle parenting, others juggle full-time jobs. But this amazing material, paper, is what ties us together. That's the paper year in a nutshell. Please visit the link that's in the chat to watch my video trailer, read more, and join us. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And then we'll get to making the photo cubes. Okay, so does anyone have any questions? If not, we'll move along and feel free to ask any at any time. Again, just type them into the chat. Okay, so I'm gonna go over, we can switch to my hands.
Helen, did you want to remind that anybody who's particularly a first timer to note that in the chat?
Sure. Yeah, so I said this at the beginning, but maybe you popped on while I was doing the slideshow. I'd love to know if you're first time Zooming with me today, and type in where you're Zooming from. Thank you. And there are several links in the chat, including the supply list for today, but you all should have received that when you signed up. So I've got my sheet of paper cut to the correct size. I've got my little photos, artwork, whatever you prepared to slip into this photo cube. I have a ruler, a bone folder. Don't need my X-Acto knife as long as I've cut my paper to size. I'm going to show you that you can illuminate this, but that's not a requirement. And I have this magnetic tape, but I also recommended glue stick or double-sided tape. So there's always lots of variations, and that's one thing I love about the paper year. Lots of members, in fact, a member turned me on to this tape. I didn't know about it. So we share ideas and tips and tricks, and all of us learn so much. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions about the materials. Let me get my instruction sheet. I like to follow my instructions because otherwise I maybe forget something. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside. And I just need my paper right now. I'm going to, the first thing we're going to do is, let me just show you the actual project. Okay, so here's where we're going. I know you've all seen this, but we need to set our seam or our hinge so that we know where that's going to be. So I'm going to work on, I've got a grid on my cutting mat. You can see that, I think. And I need to set a 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter if you're in metric seam on the end. This is very important that you do this first because many of our folds are based on that. So I like to score it. If you don't have a cutting mat, you can just mark the 1/2 inch at the top and the bottom with a pencil and then draw the line. Score the line. And then I'm going to fold that in away from the display. I call this the display side of my paper, and this is the back. So you might have a paper that's just the same color on both sides, so it's not as relevant in that case. But Now let's flip that over so you can see your seam. We are going to leave it folded for the next couple of folds. Now, I said oh, by the way, let me just say, this is a paper that was designed and printed by Deborah Glantz in Portland, Oregon. I used to live in Portland. She has a company called Reminiscence Paper. And I don't know that she's selling papers anymore, but she used to design patterns and print them, which is so cool. A lot of people in the paper year actually print papers off of the computer, designs and patterns. Okay, someone's asking the dimension of the paper, which was on the supply list, and it's 5 inches by 11 inches. 5 inches by 11. So, so yeah, there's lots of different papers out there, and it's a really unique idea, I think, to design papers on the computer and then print them out on your home computer, or in this case, Deborah had lots of sheets printed and she sold them. Okay, so again, I'm flipping over. If you have a question at any time about the process, type it in the chat. Lori's monitoring that and she'll ask me. So
And
now we're going to,
Helen, I
yeah,
just want to interject that in the links that I'm dropping in there, the top one is the supply list. So if you somehow don't have that available, it's right there in the chat.
yeah, that'll take you to a link that has the list of supplies. Okay, so now what we're going to do is fold our paper in half this way, the short side to short side. And I don't use a bone folder for scoring at this point because my paper is flexible enough, and most text weight papers should be. But I want to point out that I am folding up to the top of this folded edge. So that's important. It's not open, it's folded over, and I'm folding that in half. And then I'm going to crease. I will use my bone folder to reinforce that crease. And now I'm going to open that fold up. I'm going to leave this. Let me do it this way just because you can see better. I'm not flipping this over or anything. It's still in the same orientation. And I'm going to fold the two sides into that center fold. Like this. So when I open this up, all of my folds are in the same orientation. These are all valley folds. A valley is a V. Or if I turn it this way, they're all mountain folds. So this looks more like a mountain peak. So that's why I folded in the way I did. There are different ways to fold. So, you can see this is going to become our cube, right? And the folds are all in the correct, they're all in the correct way. Now, if for some reason one of yours isn't, you can just reverse it and fold it. So I'm just going to give you a second to do that. I'm guessing most people are done. Okay, now we're going to set the folds along the long edges. And I do like to score these folds because it's a long fold. It'd be easy to kind of get off a little bit trying to fold without scoring. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my cutting mat again. These are all 1/2 inch. So you can just watch me do the first set. So I'm going to come 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter down from that top edge. Got my ruler there, and I'm going to score. And then I'm going to come down to 1 inch. So another 1/2 inch. I need 2 scores, 2 score lines. Let me draw these as well, just so you can see them because they're invisible. So we're going to do that at the top. We're going to do the same thing at the bottom. 1/2 inch up, 1 inch up. So we need 4 score lines. This is a relatively simple project. I just want to mention for those of you who are not members of the paper year, our projects in the paper year are a little more involved in this, but they're not terribly complex. I like the complexity to come in with the variations that people create. And we talk about, I have a paper twist that I do at the end of the video and PDF each month, sort of suggesting other ideas for the technique. Okay, now I think I just drew these and I didn't score them. So I'm going to go and score these. And for me, simplifying something is like, it's exciting. Like when I can do something the simplest way possible, like I got all those folds on the correct side so that I didn't have to reverse any folds, and um, uh, designing this photo cube. I love how the end result looks, but the project is relatively simple. Okay, take a look at everybody. See if I think you're still working or not. And half of you are invisible to me, so I have no idea. So let's do a little raise hand. Lori, can you guide us through that?
So on the bottom of your screen, on the like toolbar for Zoom, there's a little heart shape. It says react. If you click on that, the one that actually says raise hand and it shows an upright raised open palm, not the thumbs up, but the actual upright palm, that one will stay. The thumbs up disappears after a few seconds or something, so it's hard to get a count. So the
So I
raise.
just want to see if about half of you are done, or how many are
Yeah.
ready to move on.
So we're getting close. I think we're pretty close to half.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to give you 1 more minute just to catch up, because I find if I go ahead and someone isn't caught up, I get lots of questions. Even when I say, please just join us no matter what you're doing. Watch what I'm doing. This is something I do in person teaching too. It's really different on Zoom. Okay. Okay. Well, we have plenty of time, I can tell. So I am going to move on now. Um, so now we need to unfold that seam. Okay, everybody hear me? Unfold it. I scored through it, so it's scored. And you should have too. We scored all the way across. And now we're going to flip this over to the front side. And I'm going to fold, just watch me do this. I'm going to fold along my 1 inch fold first. Okay? Some of you, I know you know where we're going and you can go ahead, but others, maybe this is the first time they're doing something like this. So I folded on the 1-inch seam, and then I'm going to fold back along the other one. So I have a little accordion in there. So it looks like this from the side. And then you'll do the same thing at the top. Now I chose this crazy paper. There are so many different papers. Like this one's a map. Here you can see I've folded the top one already. And then I have some where it's just a much plainer sheet with a little bit of decorative. So we'll share at the end of this what you've created. And you're welcome to also share on Instagram. If you tag me, that'd be great. All that info is in the chat. So I'm going to fold my other end. First, I fold from the 1-inch, and then I fold back along that 1/2 inch. You can make sure those line up. If for some reason your score wasn't perfect, like mine, you can kind of move that fold a little bit if you need to. And then what we're going to do is just refold those first 4 folds that we made, including the seam. So you want to fold them again with your display side out. And see, that's my cube. So now I'm really just folding it to take a look at what I've got, because we'll unfold again to insert our images. But this is what it should look like. We're going to insert our images before we fasten the seam. So let's do the raise hand again. Let me see how many of you, if you're done, raise your hand.
Yeah, we're well over 50%.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So now, I just cut out these little cards from, some of you probably know this, and I've shared it before. Lotta Johnsdotter is a designer. She sells books with printed pages. So these are from one of her books. So these are actually cards. So these papers can be multiple weights, because what we're going to do is just slip one into each panel. And it can move around a little bit. Mine, if you cut it to the right size, mine are just held pretty snug in there. But see how I could slide it? And you can play. I had you cut them a little bit smaller than the panel, just to make sure they fit. But you could play with the size. I'm going to talk about a bunch of variations. So first I'm going to slip these in. I'm going to alternate these kind of lighter ones with the darker ones. And I have the seam over on this. It's on my right now. It doesn't matter which side the seam is on though. So we'll slip those in. And then if for some reason you don't have the supply list, those are cut to 3 inches high and 2 inches wide for this particular design. Now, once you see how this is done, you could do this any size, right? And you would have to figure out, I spent time figuring out all the dimensions, but you would just figure out what dimension you could use or you would need for a different size. So this is something in the paper year that I love too, is learning a technique and then putting your own spin on it, making it a different shape, making it, maybe this has 4 panels. You could make more panels, you know, all the variations. Okay, so now I want to show you this magnetic tape. There's a link in the chat. Again, a paper year member told me about this. I didn't know about it. And look, it is like on a dispenser. It's heavy because it's got magnets in it. This is probably, I don't know, 1 or 2 pounds. And look how much tape though. And look how skinny it is. I've seen tape like this in the past, but it's much thicker. So it doesn't have much bulk. And I'm going to pull off a piece. Now, I can't remember, I should have looked this up, whether it comes in different widths. I ordered this and then I was like, oh, it's a little too wide for what I'm going for here. I could have made my hinge a little wider, but I'm going to just cut this. I'm going to cut it in half and then I'll just have my 2 pieces. Let me see. I might have been too shy on the, oh my goodness, I'm pretty good. It's the exact length I need. So if you have double-sided tape, you'll use that. And if you have glue stick, you can use that. But let me just show you this. Okay, so it's easy to cut. And then here's my seam. I know it's hard to see, so I'm just going to fold it so you see. That's my seam. I'm going to put my tape right on it, right over the folds. I'm going to trim. I got a little extra down here of that magnetic tape. I'm going to fasten some things down in a minute. I'll show you. Okay, and so now I like to just fold this into its final form to make sure I put my other piece in the right place. Okay, so it needs to go on the back here because the magnet needs to touch magnet. This is not super strong magnet. It's strong enough for this, but sometimes with some magnets you could put it on the outside and have paper in between. So I just want to say you need to have these touching each other. And I'm not an expert on magnets about the positive and negative, but I always like to put so I've got my second piece here upside down to make sure it's going to attract and not repel. Let me see if I do it the other way. Okay, it works both ways, but you know how sometimes when you put a magnet together, it wants to pop off. So I'm going to now stick this over here on this side. And then when I fold this, see how it connects? It's really cool. And then I can unconnect it. Okay, so now there's these little pieces of the accordion long ends that stick out. So I do go in and just watch this even if you're still working. And I'm going to put a little glue there so that sticks down. So that adheres. Sticks down is not very good English. Okay. And here I noticed also that you can put glue wherever you want once you've got your final form. If you feel like you need a dab of glue somewhere else too. And you could even put glue behind these if you really wanted them to stay in place. Again, mine just are cut exactly right, so they're really kind of held in place. I'm having a hard time even shoving them. And then, yeah, so see how the accordion pops up now, but when I fold it, it's locked into place. So I don't actually like, I like the flexibility of maybe changing these images later. So that would be a reason that I might not glue them down. But it's really easy to make another one of these too. Um, Okay, Amazon says 975. Is that for this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is gonna last me forever. Look how much there is in there. Okay, so I want you to raise your hand when you're done. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to get done, and then I want to show you some variations. And then we'll do a show and tell so we can see what everybody made. And when we do show and tell, I don't feel shy. I'd love to see everybody's work. And even if you didn't finish or you didn't have all the supplies, feel free to share when we get to that. And if anybody has any questions, just type them in the chat about the paper year, about paper, about this project.
Could there have been a top on this cube?
Sure, you'd have to design it. I don't know that you could have built it in to the sheet of paper because of these folds that we did along the top and bottom. But you could design a separate top. Okay, so again, yeah, raise your hand if you're done. I'm gonna give you another minute and then I'll show some variations. And also, if you have ideas for variations, let me show mine. But as I show mine, I'd love to hear any variations you might have.
Okay. I think that we're over half now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you're not done, you can keep working, or you can look up and then finish in a minute. So, oh, I had one variation. Let me see. Where did I stick it? Okay. So obviously, let me get back to my view. Okay. Obviously, variation can be in what papers you use, right? What images you put in there. It could be artwork, it could be photos, it could be little illustrations, all kinds of paper ephemera. You could also take the basic shape that I've created and change it into a different shape. You just kind of need a tab at the top and the bottom to tuck into this slot, right? I played around with having this be an accordion instead of a cube. So it could be, and I could just refold this too into an accordion. So it's like something that expands and sits on a shelf as a series of photos rather than a cube, just by changing the direction of those folds. I mentioned before that you could make multiple panels. So, this is only 11 inches wide. So you could have, if you have a longer paper, you could make it longer. You could even connect another panel to this magnet and do it that way to get a longer variation. You could change the height and put in taller images. There's so many possibilities. And then, as I said before, and everybody who knows me knows, I love light. So there's a link in the chat to my favorite tea lights, battery operated tea lights. They put out quite a bit of light and they're just twist on, twist off. And so you could illuminate your cube. And the difference between light and no light in this particular one is hard to see in the lighting situation I have here, but it does light up. Okay. Does anybody have ideas for other variations? Another would be, if you had more panels and you still brought it into the round, it could be, have a different shape on the top instead of, it could be a pentagon or something, a star, a different shape. Is someone else trying to
You could vary the paper.
vary the paper? Absolutely. Okay, Jan says she's making a 5-sided one. Yeah. So lots of possibilities. And yep.
And Angela dropped in the magnetic tape in the UK, a link for
Oh,
that.
awesome. Yeah, thanks, Angela.
I think-
Yes.
Does Ruth want to say something? Okay.
Okay, so I'd love to see what
Ruth
you,
wants to say something.
okay, go ahead, Ruth.
I just wanted to say, I made mine with handmade paper and I didn't have photographs I want to put in, but I'm thinking this would be a great way to display Zentangles.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So,
Perfect. Well, you put something in there. You said you didn't.
I
have
just
to
cut
do
out
that. Yeah.
some Audubon photographs, but the birds all had their heads cut off.
All right.
So that's something to consider when I got them mostly in.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because that's right. I had to size my photos. You have to take into account that 1/2 inch at the top and the bottom. And I mentioned that in the materials list. So your image is a little smaller than the height. So there are lots of design elements that go into something like this. Now I see Mindy said, the nice thing about a 4-sided one is it can flatten easy for mailing. And absolutely, you could make these as gifts and just tuck them into a card, right? Or send them as the card. So I love collapsible items. And even if this was glue or a magnet or a double-sided tape, this still collapses flat. So, and you could even fold it again if you needed to. Hillary's, oh wait, let me go, wait, I see a bunch of comments, cool.
Oh.
Beth put bijou tiles in hers, which are Zentangle tiles. We'll see those in a minute, Beth. And Mindy says you could display artist trading cards. Yes, it's a different height, so you just have to figure that out. And Hillary says you could mount on a card so you're not cutting off the picture. Yes, I don't know exactly what you're saying, but I like the idea of this is that you can slide something in and it's held. So that's kind of integral to this project for me, but of course you could mount images.
Okay. M Chen has her hand raised.
Okay. We can move to show and tell or show and ask questions. So put my face up, Lori, and let's do that.
So that's me. What I did was I added an extra fold in the top so that, because I was noticing.
Let's see you. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
I was just noticing, hello. I was just noticing that on the top, it had like an openness so you could see the folds. So I added a fold to the top. So it's sort of like a seam, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unfold it so we can see.
Okay.
How-
So
if
what
you
I
can.
did, yeah. So all I did was, there are 3 folds
Let's
there.
spotlight her, Lori.
Yeah.
Just
So I did 3 folds instead of the 2
yeah,
that you
yeah,
had.
yeah.
And that means that it goes down.
Oh, love it.
And then that way
Yes.
it's finished edge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I love about the paper year and sort of sharing an idea with more people because you guys come up with great ideas. So let's see your finished one again.
How it looks with the top. So
Well,
when
no,
I,
not the top, but just your whole thing. So
oh,
you're
the whole thing,
working
like,
on-
it's all undone now.
Okay.
But
Oh, I
and I didn't
see.
have photos. I just was putting in like other papers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
So yeah. So that's kind of how it looks.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you'd like to share, raise your hand and we'll call on you
And
and
again,
spotlight you just like we did.
yeah, again, it's the raised hand, not the thumbs up. That disappears, the raised hand. Okay, Gina first.
Hi, Gina.
Hi. Yeah, so I thought of the ATC thing first, and I was going to trim it down to 2x3, and then I thought, well, I'll just make the cube bigger. So what I did was I added to your dimensions, the 5x11. Oh, here, I can show it to you. So this is, I made the standard one too. That's the standard size, and then this is
Oh,
the ATC size.
yeah.
Slightly bigger. So
Right.
I just added a ½ inch to the height. So I made it 5.5 inches tall, and then I just followed exactly what you did. And then for the length, because each of the 4 is a ½ inch wider, I added 2 inches to the length.
Right.
So I made it 5.5 by 13, and then I
Yep.
just did exactly what you did with the folds and the scores. So then you get
Right. It's not hard to figure
Yeah,
out.
And then the other thing I did, I'm using pretty stiff paper. I just wove the ends together instead of using tape or glue, and it worked on this one too. And this is a slightly lighter. I don't know if you can see. So I tucked the folds into each other.
Yes, I thought of
it,
that.
and it holds. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if it would hold if I flattened it and mailed it. I might have to. But anyway, that was the 2 variations. on that.
Yes, because you have all those folds, you can just tuck it in. Yep.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks.
Next one is Holly.
Hi, Holly.
Hi.
We see you.
Okay.
So what do you make?
I had a bunch of paper that I had marbled, and so I cut it and
Oh,
did
beautiful.
that. And this is just computer paper because I wasn't confident enough to use something decent the first time around. But I had a lot of fun, and definitely will get a nicer paper and some photos and do this. It's awesome. And I think I'll figure out how to make a hanger and give it as a Christmas to hang on the Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah. If you'd share
Oh,
that
with
with
an
me,
ornament.
share that when you do it. I'd love to see what you come up with.
Thank you so
And-
much.
Oh, you're welcome. And I love that you talk about making a model first because that's really important with anything. You're not going to get it
Yeah.
perfect the first time. You have to make a model and see how it works and see how your particular paper folds.
Yeah.
Because, so it's super smart. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is Elaine.
Hi,
Hi, Elaine.
thank you very much for this project. It was fun. So I had used Shizhen paper, Shizhen. It's a little thicker and it has a nice subtle metallic
Yeah.
thing. And then I just see if I can see here. Hard to see. There's a
Oh, there,
shine.
right close up. It kind of,
There we go.
And-
I just painted
oh.
some really quick florals.
yeah, beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I love it. You're welcome. Thanks, Elaine.
Okay, Jan Raven.
All right, so first person did what I was going to say that I did, and I just tucked the tab in underneath.
Yep,
You can hardly even see it. I mean, it's almost seamless.
right.
And I was kind of unprepared with materials here. I just yanked it apart. I just took a poster from an art show I just did, and I just cut apart the same
Yeah.
parts just to have something colorful to shove in there.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm still working on the 5-sided one. I'm getting there.
Oh, cool. Great. Thank you.
Okay, next will be Beth.
Hi, Bash.
Oh, sorry, Beth, you need, okay.
I got
You have to turn your camera on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
There.
I made one with my little bijou tiles,
Oh.
and they're not all drawn yet, but
But the good thing about the little bijous is so actually they
shape.
just spin in and
Yes.
out, and then you can just, when I get these actually decorated, I'll be able to pop them back in. But I definitely like the fact that I can flatten this
Mhm.
and mail it, like put pictures of my granddaughter in there and then mail it out. And they then when they get it, they'll be able to pop it out. So definitely gonna do more of those. Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh. And I love that shape twists in, like it fits
Yeah, yeah,
horizontal, and then you just flip it and it twists right into the space.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I also, wait, where did I put them? Oh, here. I cut down a 5 tile, which will mean something to Zentangle people.
Uh-huh.
And I was gonna put that in there. And I was actually thinking, I think someone sort of mentioned this before, is actually to glue this in, and then you could use this as a frame and glue
Right.
on and off. So you could change out the pictures. You could just pull it off, but you'd have the back piece.
Okay, maybe that's what Hillary meant about mounting.
That's what I
Yes.
think. Because you,
Super
yeah,
smart.
just
Yep.
glue them in, and then if you just use like cheap double-sided tape, you just easy to pop off and on, and then replace.
Or you're making me think you could just slide in a blank panel and draw yourself a guideline, and then
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, Beth.
Okay. Mindy Trust.
Hi. I like to
Hi,
make
Mindy.
paste papers. Hello.
Uh-huh.
I like to make paste papers, and I mainly use masa paper, and it worked perfectly for this
Okay.
project. So I had a piece that I double pasted,
Yeah.
and I just used pictures of
Oh,
because in winter I just need spring.
yeah.
But if you have the open edge, just like what you made, you can put things into the crease and just, little dried flowers or whatever, and decorate that way. If it's just sitting on a table, it won't matter. So
Very cool idea. Yes, thank you.
thank you.
In fact, I came up with this maybe because I was doing some pleating, multiple pleating, and thinking of slipping things in to all of the pleats. So there's so many things. This is a pleat that's used on the edges. Usually maybe they're in the middle of things, but yeah, that's another interesting variation. Thank you. Okay, who else? Okay, we have a few more minutes, so if you want to share, let me know. I would love to see some of these on Instagram, or if you would email me a photo, I'd love that because I'm going to send a follow-up email. I'd love to show off a couple of what you all made. So just send it to me, Helen at helenhiebertstudio.com. I'd love that. And I wanted to show one more thing here. I was looking for this earlier. So here's a shape. I cut these shapes and tuck them in. So this is what I was talking about. I was trying to say it. Maybe you got it. You just have to have one little edge that would tuck underneath, or these two little pieces tuck under. So really the sky's the limit in terms of what you put in there. It doesn't have to be a rectangle, as Beth just showed us too, with her tiles. Okay, no other raised hands. Any other questions? Otherwise, we will get on with our day. Thank you so much for coming.
Helen,
Yeah.
could you do some screenshots, some gallery shots?
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. If everybody holds up what they made, we'll take a couple of screenshots. Thanks, Lori. And if you want to go to gallery view, if you're not on gallery view, you'll be able to see. Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. We've got two screens. Oh no, the other screen. Nobody's on video. So
Okay.
Well, since we have a couple of minutes, let's do a couple of individual shots. If you don't mind raising your hand, if you don't mind being your piece being featured somewhere, like when I'm promoting the paper year, that would be wonderful. If you're, and otherwise you're released if you need to go. I hope you'll read about the paper year and join us if you're interested. Thank you.
Sorry, there's
Okay. All right, I see Beth.
Okay, who else? Okay, Beth.
I'll do the screenshot, Lori.
Oh,
You do the,
all right.
you
Okay.
spotlight her, but let me
All
get in the
right.
right view. Okay, sorry, I wasn't in the right view.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to do one with you and your lantern, and then another one, just the lantern. So hang on. And your hand. There we go. Thank you.
Elaine.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Hang on, one more. There we go. Thank you.
Hey, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. Oh, I love that with the photos. I think kids would love these, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Holly.
Okay. Hold it. It looks a little funny with your face right in front of it. So hold it next to one side or the other. Because I will see your face behind it. So, okay. That's perfect. Now just one more. Let me get us, I'm going to do a close up. Thank you.
Okay. M. Oh, yay.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see. Oh, I
I
don't know.
hear you.
I don't know if you can see, but my kiddo here found out a way to do it so that it's got an edge on the top, and then there's no frame anymore when you turn it like that. You see?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. What a great variation.
Yeah. So there's like almost like a 3D fold on top. I don't know how he did it though.
Uh-huh. Awesome. Nice work. Thanks, guys. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Jan.
All right.
Okay.
It says unmute.
I see
All
you.
right, so I have this, but then I quickly did the 5-sided one, and I took your idea of going outside the box and I just threw something together.
Oh,
I
fun.
just cut it really fast.
Okay,
So it's
hold
held
them
in there.
still. Hold them still. Move your, I can't, it's too hard to convince. Oh, yeah, back a little. That's good. Okay, let me do, and let me do one of this tall one. Okay, thank you.
Spur of the moment.
Okay.
Fun.
Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody. That was really fun. We filled an hour working with paper. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about the paper year. And we'll see you around.